You have to truly believe in the magic.
Hey Magic fans, and welcome to Penny for Your Thoughts, the podcast of the Orlando Magic UK. In this episode, we are taking a close look at pre-season, opening night, and we are joined by the Orlando Magic CEO, Alex Martins. I'm Paul, host for tonight, and as always, I'm joined by Geraint and Mikey. G, how you doing?
Very well, thank you, mate. Looking forward to speaking to the big boss.
Yeah, it's a bit of a surprise, bit of a shock to actually get him to come on. It's going to be a good one. It's going to be good to talk to him. Mikey, How are you doing, pal?
I'm doing well, mate. Thank you. Excited to have Alex on shortly.
Yes. It's definitely something we've been trying to get to happen, and it's a real pleasure that it is going to. The Magic have helped us out massively. So looking forward to it. So should we dive straight in? Bit of a news roundup for the week. We've had one or two bits to talk about. So first of all, since we recorded last, the Magic lost to the Spurs by 1 point, 101-100 after a huge fourth quarter rally by the Magic. They came up short by the single point. Magic had trailed by as many as 18 points, but piled on 36 in the final 12 minutes. Unfortunate handling error in the final play of the game by Jalen Suggs sealed the team's fate. Final game of pre-season, we closed with a win, hard-fought 1 point victory over the Boston Celtics, 102-103. Third of our 4 pre-season games that have come down to a single point. So with this one, after 26 lead changes, what a game. Jeff Doughton Jr. hit the winning shot with a fadeaway jumper for 2 with just 0.2 remaining of the game. Finished preseason with a 1-3 losing record. Since that time, the Magic have both signed and waived Devin Kennedy and BJ Johnson. We've also waived Jeff Doughton, despite his excellent finishing for the game winner against Boston. Hassani Gravett and Admiral Schofield all are expected to join the Lakeland Magic in some shape or form. We've also signed Wendell Carter Jr. to a 4-year, $50 million deal. And injury update, Chuma Akiki and Jalen Suggs are both now listed as being day-to-day. Jalen having missed the final preseason game due to a non-COVID related illness. Michael Carter-Williams, Jonathan Isaac and Markel Fultz all remain out, and we shall see how soon we get them back. So, guys, just a quick dive into preseason. Top 3 performers. Do we all agree it's Cole Anthony, Mo Bamba and Wendell Carter? Quick thoughts. Mikey?
Yeah. Probably an honourable mention, maybe RJ Hampton. You could possibly talk about that.
I very nearly put him in, I very nearly put him in. He went for a top 4. Yeah.
He's shown flashes. He got better with each game. He obviously finished with 20 points against the Boston Celtics. I think it was 20 and 8. I think he went for 20 points, 8 rebounds, and made a couple of threes as well. So Hampton obviously shown flashes as well throughout preseason. But yeah, I think Mo Bamba's probably top of that list. Maybe Wendell second, and Cole was solid throughout preseason as well. And his decision making and his assists were going up. And I said it last week, he looked more assured on the floor now. He's looking like the game's slowing down for him. We just want to see his efficiency go up this season. But yeah, Bamba coming out with the preseason he had, we want him to see if he can take that into the regular season now.
He was an absolute block machine, wasn't he? Gee, what's your thoughts on it?
Yeah, absolutely. What Mikey just said, Bamba and Carter Jr. They're the standouts for me. I like the fact that they could be played together. I think Wendell's worked on his jump shots, especially in this off season, enabling us to stretch the floor with him. But a point from the Magic News there, signing him to the 4-year, $50 million deal. That is an absolute bargain for a player of his caliber. In the preseason, he put up 12 and a half, 9 rebounds a game in very limited minutes. So, and then Bamba put up 11 and 8 or so and led the league in blocks. So if we can Bamba's skill set is something that isn't readily available in the league. You know, a player of his caliber on the defensive end, if he can, read the game well, and then on offense, spread the floor, put the ball on the floor. I'd like us to re-sign Mo Bamba also today. I know this is going out, we're recording on Monday, but I think he's key to the foundation of this team. So no, very happy with especially those two, Cole Anthony, RJ Hampton, for the pre-season now.
Yeah, Cole Anthony, I mean, knocking down 8 of 19 from deep, that's got to be something that we're looking forward to seeing more of going forward, because that really does help us with the shooting from deep. I do notice that most of our threes did come from kind of the top of the key as opposed to in the corner. So corner shooting can still be a bit of a worry for us. But Cole knocking down as many threes as he did was a real big bonus. Also, Mo Bamba managed to add a few threes, and Wendell Carter Jr. had also seemingly increased his range on his shooting as well. So that's all good. Also, loved Wendell's active hands. He seemed to be really full on in defence, and the steals that he created between him and Bamba being a block machine and Wendell being a steal machine, we were seeing some good defence. I think we had quite a good pre-season personally. I'm not too concerned about it.
I do like what Coach Mosley's done about this whole ringing the bell thing, getting your hands in the passing lanes, deflections, and rewarding players for it. And it'll only help the team in the future. So, no, I'm very happy with that as well.
Yeah, I think it was a good pre-season. Now, as always, quick shameless plug. As you know, we're affiliated to NBA League Pass, Fanatics, and the NBA Store Europe. So if you're looking to make a purchase, please join those websites by clicking on our affiliate links off of the social media pages and off the website. If you are on the NBA Store or Fanatics, please use the code MAGICUK10 at the checkout. It can add a 10% discount on most items, though some exclusions do apply, and there is international shipping offered as well. So Fanatics also offer a whole host of football teams, soccer for our friends in the States, along with the NBA, NFL, NHL, and MLB. And by doing that, it just helps us do what we do. Well, we are now joined by somebody who is a very, very special guest, somebody who first started with the Orlando Magic in 1989, serving in several senior management positions before becoming the chief executive officer for the team in 2011. The one and only Alex Martins. Alex, thank you very, very much for joining us.
Well, thank you for having me. It's great to be with you.
We really do appreciate it. And, the help that the team has given us here and in previous episodes, we genuinely do appreciate and hope that gets passed through to the people that have helped us along. Well, so thank you.
Without a doubt, we appreciate all of our fans in the UK in particular. We have a lot of them. Unfortunately, due to COVID, a lot of them haven't been able to make it over here during the last year and a half or so. But hopefully, as the borders start opening up here in November, some of them will start making their way back.
There's already a lot of chatter amongst the UK fans as to how soon fans can get back across, and you will definitely have some UK fans in the Amway, or possibly in like New York and Boston for some of the away games as well. Definitely people looking at getting trips planned already. So yes, it'd be good to get some British voices back in the crowd.
Yes, without a doubt.
Okay, Alex, we've got a lot to talk to you about. First of all, could I ask you, just take us through what's involved in a typical day as CEO of the Magic.
Every day is different, is the way I would first characterize it. Every day, every hour is different. We are dealing with so many different elements of the business on a daily basis. And today our business is bigger than ever. Of course, the Magic is the most important piece and the biggest piece of our business, but we have a couple of other teams. Of course, we have our G League team in the Lakeland Magic, and we do own a minor league hockey team in the Orlando Solar Bears, who play in the Amway Center as well. And then we're in the development business as well. So we're currently under development for a new $70 million, 130,000 square foot training facility for the team that is due to be completed in May, as well as a new sports and entertainment district that we're working on and hope to break ground on sometime in early 22, right across the street from the Amway Center, that we intend to have a hotel and an office building that we're going to move all of our corporate headquarters into, as well as a small music venue, some multifamily units, as well as a lot of entertainment based retail. So a lot, that is all over the place. And of course, the most important piece is the Magic and working with our basketball team in putting the team on the floor, and working with our business team in growing our business and our brand. So every day is different. It brings about a lot of challenge every single day, but we never get bored. That's for sure. Because every day brings a different challenge, and we love it and we enjoy it.
Lots of moving pieces. What is your day-to-day involvement with the team itself?
So, Jeff Wellman, our president of basketball operations, reports directly to me. And so we're in constant communication on a daily basis about the team itself, about all of our transactions, player signings, goings on relative to the culture around the team, and the chemistry. Of course, all of the major decisions, I'm involved in, whether it be a new head coach or a player signing, et cetera. Jeff's responsible for the day-to-day, and he's responsible for the strategy on that side. But on a daily basis, we're in constant communication. And, we are always talking about, the future of the team, the roster, what it looks like, what the culture is like around the team. Jeff and I work very closely together on a daily basis.
Obviously, you know that this is the case. Some of the fans aren't your greatest fans. Does some of that criticism hurt?
It's part of the business. Fans are going to be fans, and they're there in good times and in bad. And taking all of the adulation as well as the criticism is part of this business and part of our role. And so we're accustomed to it. We don't let it bother us, when it's criticism, and we celebrate with the fans when they're happy about what's going on with the team as well. So look, our goal is the same as theirs, and that is to win, and to win at the highest level, to win a championship ultimately. We're working hard every day to get to that point. Some of the decisions are going to be those that they agree with, and others they won't. And that's, part of our business, and we understand that.
Yeah. Okay. The other thing you are massively involved in is the charitable side and the community work that the team do. The inception of the Orlando Magic Youth Foundation that I know Mikey, Geraint and I got involved with the 5K run that was earlier in the year.
Well, my wife did. I jibbed out.
Yes, you're right. Yeah, I really should say that. Mikey was unwell, so we'd all signed up to do the 5K, but Mikey had to drop out due to illness, and Becky stepped in your place. That's right, isn't it, Mikey?
Absolutely, yeah.
But the raising the funds for youth and Central Florida causes, what is it that's so important about that to both yourself and to the team?
Well, we're an important element of this community. We've been here for, over 30 years now. And, being a leader in this community is important to us. Giving back to our community is extremely important to us. We see ourselves like every major business in Central Florida, whether it be Disney or Lockheed Martin or any of the largest businesses that we have here in Central Florida. We take our responsibility seriously, just as they do. And so making sure that, our community is healthy and, is thriving is incredibly important to us. So that's at the heart of the Orlando Magic Youth Foundation. And of course, with the foundation, we focus primarily on at-risk youth throughout Central Florida. and funding the programs that help them prepare for a better future, whether it be after school programs or programs that address homelessness or hunger. All of these issues are issues that, many of our communities are dealing with. And as a major player in this community, it's important for us to play a leadership role there. So raising the funds and distributing them on an annual basis to at-risk children's organizations in Central Florida is extremely important to us. And so, over the course of the last 30 plus years, we're approaching now $30 million of having raised and distributed, pretty regularly now over the course of the last decade. We've raised and distributed $1 million to those children's organizations. And it's important for us to, contribute, to the growth and the betterment, of our youth in Central Florida. And that's what OMYF is all about. So that's incredibly important to us. And then, our community work through our players and coaches and community ambassadors, reaching out to the community. We have an incredible platform as a professional sports organization. People look up to our players and coaches and look up to the organization. And when it, is a time for leadership and need in our community, people, look to us, to help them get through challenging times, whether it be a hurricane here in Central Florida, or whether it be through, the diversity, equity, and inclusion movement that, has gone on over the course of the last 2 years in particular. And, doing things like playing a leadership role in opening the Amway Center as a voting location, for elections, et cetera. So there are many different aspects to our community outreach and involvement. But the important thing is that this is our home, this is our community, and we find it, responsible for us to play a leadership role in making our community better every single day. That's one of our core values as an organization, and one that we try to live up to every day.
Is there any one particular thing that the foundation have done that you've been most proud of?
Well,
or is it just an overall collective?
It's definitely a collective, but we're most proud of the fact that we've really focused on the Paramore community in which the Amway Center sits here in Central Florida. And it is one of the most challenged communities in Central Florida. Very high poverty, low income. The community, over time, needs, some rebuilding and development. And so we spent a lot of our time there. The Paramore Kids Zone, for example, is one of the organizations that the Orlando Magic Youth Foundation in particular has funded for many, many years. And, we're proud of the fact that now, 20 and 30 years later, we see a lot of the children that we were able to help over time graduate from college, go on to, great success and careers. And it all started with their involvement in the Paramore Kids Zone and keeping them off the streets and giving them important after school programming. And so it's many years later that we look back and see the impact that we've had, with the programs that we funded over time to help improve the lives of these youth and improve the lives of the Paramore community with which we sit in.
Excellent, thank you,
Alex. So one of the things I wanted to ask you, obviously in March, the Magic decided to hit the reset button and change course and really kickstart a brand new rebuild, looking at youth and player development and continue building through the draft. It's a two-part question. First part is, what was your trade deadline day like as CEO? How did the front office and ownership come to the decision that was the best course of action for the Magic to take going forwards?
Well, let's start with your last question. we talked long and hard about it for about a 4 to 6 month period prior to ultimately pulling the trigger and making the decision to go in that direction. And it ultimately came down to we were not happy with mediocrity. We definitely wanted to get back to the point where we got back to contending for championships again. Of course, we've had 2 great eras in our franchise's history where we've been to the NBA finals in 95 and then again in 09, and we wanted to get back there. And, as an our ownership group and as a management team, we ultimately decided that on the course that we were on, we really, we're not going to get back there anytime soon, if at all, because we were stuck in this sort of mediocrity, as I say. And we studied the success of the teams that had rebuilt and had gotten back to the finals over the course of the last decade. And many of them, the majority of them, took this route, where, they had a collection of veterans that had some value in which they could trade away and ultimately secure draft picks for and build through the draft. And hopefully secure 1 or 2 players, as those other teams had done, that would have the ability to reach all NBA type status, all stars type status, and build around them and get back to a roster and a franchise that could contend for championships. So we made that decision to go in that direction in February. As we approached the trade deadline. And then trade deadline day was chaotic, because when you make those kind of players available to you, you have a lot of options. But the goal there was to maximize the youth, maximize the amount of draft picks, maximize the potential for high draft picks that we could secure, during the course of that process. And we worked really hard at it. Jeff and his team in particular worked very hard at it. In the week or 2 prior to the trade deadline, and we're able to successfully pull off a number of trades that brought us back the assets to be able to start rebuilding in that direction. So fast forward to today, and we're excited about where we are in terms of the collection of young players that we have, and also the future draft picks that we've secured as well. And we believe that we've started the foundation now, and we're starting to build the house, as I like to say, of getting back to being a championship contender with the great youth that we have and the assets that we have upcoming in the draft.
How do you compare where we are now in terms of the rebuild compared to when we had Rob Hennigan going back to like 2012? I know the situation was very different because obviously we just hired Rob and we've already got an established front office at the moment, but how much further along do you feel we are at the moment?
I think I'd say that today the foundation of this rebuild is stronger than the foundation under Rob Hennigan. I think that it's been a lot more strategic. We have a lot more experience at the top of our basketball operation with Jeff Weltman and John Hammond. Between the 2 of them, they have over 70 years of experience in the NBA. And both of them have worked for several organizations who have, built strong rosters. I mean, look, at the very beginnings of the most recent NBA champion, Jeff Weltman and John Hammond worked together to start building that roster. And of course, unfortunately, they weren't there to see the fruits of their labor in terms of the championship itself. But, it was Jeff and John that ultimately drafted Giannis, right? And so, and the other pieces that came along after that. So, they've got a lot of great experience, and, I feel great about the pieces that they've put in place. And I also believe that we've accumulated a lot more assets in this, rebuild and in this foundation with John and Jeff than we had, in the previous administration.
Yeah, I agree. So you've already answered some of my questions I had towards the end about the sports complex and the entertainment complex across the road. So going back to the practice facility, what went into the thinking behind creating that? Because obviously when we built the Amway Center, the practice facility was included and planned to go alongside that. So what sort of changed is it the fact that sports science and things like that have advanced so quickly since that time?
Well, that's definitely an element of it. Over the course of the 11 years that we've been here in the Amway Center, our business has changed a lot in terms of sports science and the preparation and the rehab and the recuperation and ultimately the desire to elongate players' careers through health and wellness has really changed over that decade. And so, when Jeff first came to us, he had come from a team that had most recently developed a new training facility, in the Toronto Raptors. And, he had seen, having come from there, a lot of the sports science that was utilized at the Raptors that we didn't necessarily utilize here at the Magic because of our limitations on the facilities that we had. The Amway Center facility is great, but in terms of square footage, it's not a big facility. We only have one basketball court in the practice facility, which, most of the new training facilities around the NBA now have 2 courts plus additional shooting space. In addition to the fact that, all of the new therapies that are utilized and the technology that comes along with them require a lot more space than we have able to accommodate us, here at the Amway Center. So Jeff and I, set out on a tour of all of these new training facilities around the league and around the country. And of course, I spent some time in the NFL, and I was very well aware of the NFL's facilities that they had that were more advanced that we had here at the Amway Center as well. So during the course of those tours, we looked at every best practice, every training facility that was recognized as the best in our league in particular, and accumulated all of those ideas, and ultimately went to ownership. And as part of this discussion of getting back to championship contention, another element of it was that in order to do that, we had to have the facilities that complemented the team that we were building and prepared the team that we were building, and the fact that we felt that we didn't have them in the Amway Center. So we were able to convince ownership, to invest $70 million in a new facility. And, it really is, in my opinion, going to be the best training facility in the entire NBA, if not in all professional sports. We have, of course, we have Jamal Mosley here as our new head coach. And he came from an organization in the Dallas Mavericks that prided itself on the facilities that they provided for their players. I mean, how long have we all heard Mark Cuban talk about the fact that, he believes that, he's invested in the best facilities, for his players of any team in the NBA. And when I took Coach Mosley through the construction site a week ago Friday, he said to me, Mark is not going to have the best facility in the NBA anymore because this clearly is going to be the best. And so he knows because he worked for Mark, having been, in Dallas for all those years. But we're excited about it. It truly is going to be state of the art with every modern therapy, possible, from, cryo chambers to, hyperbaric chambers. We're going to have a high altitude chamber to prepare our players for when we go to the West Coast to play in places like Denver and Utah. Okay. And, there's a lap pool that will take advantage of our, Florida weather by being sort of an indoor outdoor type facility. The biggest hot and cold plunges for therapy that I've ever seen, nap rooms, recovery rooms, full restaurant style kitchen, so that we can prepare meals for our players, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, et cetera. So it really is going to be, the best facility in the NBA, in my opinion. So it's come along really well. We are completely enclosed now, and they're working on the interiors, and we expect the facility to be done in May, so that we can conduct all of our pre-draft workouts and draft preparation for the 2022 NBA draft in our new facility. And then, of course, move the team in during the course of the summer during their voluntary workouts and be prepared to be able to hold training camp there, for next year. And again, I didn't mention the fact that it will have 2+ courts. We've got 2 full courts and 2 half courts just for shooting in addition to that. And the other great element of it is we are partnering with our healthcare partners here in Central Florida, Advent Health, who invested in naming rights on the facility and is also investing in, healthcare practices in the building as well. So we're going to have a full orthopedic practice there, sports science practice, athletic cardiology, and then most importantly for us is a full imaging center where our players are just going to be able to walk down the hall if they get injured and have an MRI or an X-ray or a CAT scan right there within our building, as opposed to having to go across town to one of Advent Health's other facilities to have their imaging done. So we're excited about it. It's going to take us to a whole nother level, and it's coming at the right time, as we build our roster and ultimately look to attract top free agents in the NBA as well.
Thanks, Alex.
Very exciting,
it's
isn't
putting
it?
us on the right track for that goal of a championship in the next few years, shall we say?
Right. Well, it'll definitely be an attraction for free agents as we start to get into the free agency period next summer and beyond.
Super.
Excellent. So, Alex, the Magic have been over to the UK now on a number of occasions. Back in '93, playing the Atlanta Hawks in a couple of exhibition games. In 2016, playing the Toronto Raptors. Tell us about your trips to the UK. I know you mentioned off air that your wife's from the UK, so that's a good start for you. But what do you remember from your trips with the Magic?
Well, 2 very different trips, right? Not just because of the teams that we had, but also because of the facilities in the UK as well. So the first time we went, we played in Wembley Arena, right? And we played before a fairly small crowd. It was early on in the NBA's global games process and going overseas. So, it's certainly the process of bringing NBA teams internationally was not as sophisticated at that time as it is today. So, we were honored to be, one of the first teams to head out internationally and to play in the UK. And that was a great experience. But, fast forward to 2016 and, the NBA had, expanded the global games to every corner, of really the world, and had really perfected, the visitation of NBA teams, and really expanded what we did when we went in to play those games, like helping to build facilities that improved the communities that the games were played in. And similarly we did that when we went in 2016, and of course the facility was much more it was much different, was much larger, and we had a much bigger crowd to play in front of. So 2 very different situations. And then of course in 2016, I had my family, I had my wife, who, as you mentioned, was from the UK. And we were able to take them all back and, have our daughters experience London for the first time, in their lives, and get a little bit of a flavor and taste of my wife's side of the family and how she grew up, et cetera. So 2 very different situations, but 2 of the most memorable and best trips that, I've been able to take with the team internationally. And really, really enjoyed, our time in the UK, and enjoyed playing our games there. And hopefully we can get back there again someday soon.
Absolutely. So you touched upon how important, the global games are to the NBA and the growth of the game worldwide. The NFL have taken a stance in the UK where they've sent a couple of teams over a few times a season now. So the Jacksonville Jaguars have been almost made as a UK home team, giving one home game every season to London, which has been, welcomed here. Might we see something like that from the NBA in time? And if so, would the Magic be interested with the large following that you do have in Europe and the UK?
Well, I'll answer the second question first. We would absolutely be interested. We have a great fan following in the UK. We have many of our fans and friends from the UK come over to Orlando during the course of the year. And that's one thing that we've missed, due to COVID is, of course, with all the travel restrictions in place, we haven't had the opportunity to see many of our UK fans come back over for our games. And hopefully with the border opening up here in November and, many of our nonstop flights coming back to Orlando, hopefully starting again soon, that we'll be able to, see our fans again come over from the UK, at some point during this season. But we would absolutely be interested in playing there, on a regular basis. The league has done a really good job of spreading these games out throughout the globe. And there are certain teams, I think, that, have specific followings to certain areas, like Sacramento to India, for example, right? And I think that the UK is certainly that for the Orlando Magic, and we'd love to be over there on a regular basis. I would hope that the league would make a determination to make some more regular stops for teams in certain places in the future, like the NFL has, and we'd definitely be interested. So the good news is that we sit on a number of NBA committees that make these kind of decisions and debate, the future of what we're going to be doing internationally and with these global games. And our hope is that we will continue to be one of the teams that can visit the UK on a regular basis.
Superb. Thank you.
Alex, can I just ask another question then around the global development of the game? We have, one of the things that really, really frustrates UK fans and European fans is that the NBA competitions and Magic competitions by the NBA's rules are for within a certain distance of that team's arena, I believe. So we can't enter any of the competitions. Is there any scope with the NBA to look at being able to do something internationally for fans to enter competitions? Because we just can't. It's really frustrating.
Right.
I know at this point the American fans have got the world's smallest violins out for us.
Well, look, we're making baby steps is what I would say. So, one of the first areas that we've made some inroads into over the course of the last several years, and I was one of the proponents of doing this, was to allow us to market our teams internationally. For forever, the NBA did not allow teams to do any marketing outside of their 75-mile radius. And now over the course of the last several years, we've had the opportunity to, in limited fashion, co-brand in certain markets that we have some of our partners in. So, for example, with Disney or with Amway, we now have the opportunity to go internationally and do some broad-based marketing where we haven't, been able to do that in the past. And so that's a step forward. I think that we're entering into a time now where media rights, to your point, about having the ability to see more Magic games, media rights are changing. The way people consume media is definitely changing. Most of us now consume media on our iPad or on our phone, as opposed to, in the past where we had to have a cable television subscription and you had to be subscribed to the local regional sports network in order to view those games. But now media is changing and everyone is streaming, their media. By the way, I don't know what your opinion is about this, but one of my favorite shows these days is Ted Lasso. Okay.
Yes, it's getting quite a following over here. I think we're a bit behind it. Alex being on, that was really excellent. I really enjoyed talking to him. We are really sorry that we lost connection with him there at the end, so we didn't get the chance to thank him and just wrap up things. But it was really good to talk to him. Really good. I thought there was some interesting points he came up with. G, you really happy with that? Anything stand out for you?
It's his honesty and telling us exactly how things are within the organisation, and it's an exciting time, especially with the new facility. He was telling us about Coach Mosley there, telling us we're going to have a better facility than the Dallas Mavericks. It just brings a smile to your face. So no, it was excellent to have him on, and we look forward to maybe speaking to him again in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. Mikey, over to you to talk about JJ competition.
Oh dear. Okay, so I'll see if I can get it right this week, shall I? So our friends from the NBA store.
That's the only reason I'm throwing it over to you every week.
It's shocking. Honestly, I'm going to drop the competition next week. No, I'm not. So our friends from the NBA Europe store and Fanatics UK are giving away an Orlando Magic Jalen Suggs jersey to one lucky winner. So you need to do two things. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and leave us a comment in the episode looking at the 2021-22 season schedule, telling us which Magic player you're most looking forward to watching this season. The link's in the description of the podcast. When we hit 500 followers on the YouTube channel, we'll do the prize draw for that Jalen Suggs jersey giveaway.
Excellent. And now over to G to reintroduce Magic Moments.
Yeah, so Magic Moments is back for a second season. So if you haven't played it before, what I will be doing is posting something on Facebook and Twitter with 5 questions. All related to the next Magic game, be it home or away. All you'll have to do is answer these questions. It'll all be yes, no answers. Then just pop your tag or your Facebook name on you'll obviously be there on the post. Put a hashtag for Magic Moment, and you'll be entered. And I'll be keeping a running score. We had a lot of people trying last year, and I can't remember who won it in the end. Do you remember, guys?
I think it was Simon.
One of the guys on Twitter.
Simon Chamberlain.
Simon?
Yeah. So he won a little Magic pack from us. So that'll be dropping now. First game Wednesday against the San Antonio Spurs. I've got them all lined up. So yeah, please take part, and it should be a good season.
Excellent. And each game day, make sure that you're checking the website, because we are posting a game preview each game, and the following day there's a game review. There's also going to be other feature content that Mikey, Geraint and I are working on throughout the season. We've got one or two little ideas of articles to put up just to make the content a little bit different, and stuff that we'll also link into talking about on here, no doubt, as well. So let's get to it. Season openings. We are recording on the 18th of October. And the next pod will drop on Saturday the 23rd. So between now and then, the Magic will play twice. We have our opening night on the 20th, 1:30 a.m. Thursday tip UK, on the road against San Antonio Spurs. Our home opener follows on Friday the 22nd, which is midnight here in the UK, on the 23rd. So opinions, guys, on the starting unit that we're going to go with. So let's go with you first, Geraint.
Okay, so the difficulty here is we don't know who's injured properly at the moment. We don't know if Akiki's back. Of course, we've got Fultz and Isaac on the sideline as it stands also. So let's just go on the basis of what we saw last week in the who's active. So I would go with Jalen Suggs at the point guard. I think we need to throw him in there, get him as many minutes, get him accustomed to the league as fast as possible. I would start Gary Harris next to him. Again, veteran veteran leader who's played many seasons in the NBA, just to, as backup buddy for Suggs. Now, this is where it gets difficult. The small forward. Now, if Okeke was fit, I'd probably plug Okeke in. The other options, I suppose, is you'd start Terence Ross, but I feel he's better coming off the bench. So if Okeke's still injured, I'd probably go with Franz Wagner. And the only reason, again, like that is, like with Suggs, the more he's out there playing, learning, the better hopefully he'll become in the future. So to go with those two, I think I've mentioned it a little bit earlier. I'd start Wendell Carter and Mo Bamba together. I like what they did in pre-season. I think they can spread the floor. I think they bring a lot to the table. So I'd go with those two. So that's Suggs, Harris, Wagner, Carter Jr. and Bamba.
I think with Suggs and Okeke being day-to-day, we've got to start looking at them likely being available. So, Mikey, would you go with same as G, or would you have any changes?
Now I've had time to think about it, I think I would change it. I would go with the same backcourt, Suggs and Gary Harris. That's a no-brainer. See, if Okeke's fit or if he's cleared to play, I still don't think he'll start, just because he's got a lot of rust to shake off. And look, there's no rush to necessarily bring them back. So even if Okeke's cleared to play, I would probably agree with G and go with Wendell and Mo starting at the 4 and the 5.
Yep.
Now I'm thinking about it, I might start Terence Ross over Wagner. And actually, I replied to somebody on Twitter the other day that basically had RJ Hampton in that starting lineup. And I said, no, I'd want Gary Harris in there. But when it comes to T. Ross, I just think one thing we don't want in a regular season, we want games to be meaningful. We want to be competitive. And I just worry that if you're starting 2 rookies and you're playing Wendell slightly out of position, because let's be honest, he's a 5. I do think the ability to spread the floor and maybe create a bit of offense might be an issue. And I just think you can start Terence Ross at the 3, Harris at the 2. You've got a bit more veteran presence there and a little bit more shooting. You can always bring one of them off the floor early and bring them back in with the bench unit a little bit later in the first quarter. I just think we don't want to get down by 10, 15 points early and then you're having to chase the game. I just feel like if you've got that shooting there from the get-go, you might just be able to hang around a little bit longer during the game. So I would go Suggs, Harris, T. Ross, Wendell and Mo. But I wouldn't be surprised if it's Wagner either.
Yeah, I think it's a real tight call between those two, in all honesty. I'm hoping that we do see Suggs start in this one. I'm hoping that he's been able to shake the illness, because I do genuinely like the partnership that Cole and RJ have coming off the bench. Yeah. I like to see them two playing together. They really have good qualities together. And that's one of the things where I do like to see T. Ross come from the bench, because when he's working with them guys as well, there seems to be a good understanding that's and it seems to be growing each game. So yeah, I'm probably going to drop for the first game with Franz at the small forward position and go with the same lineup as G has suggested. It's a very difficult choice. I guess that's why Coach Mosley gets paid the big bucks.
Absolutely.
To come up with those ideas. So, Mikey, season expectations. What's going to be a good season for you? What's your expectations?
Player development. Watching players get better as the season goes on. I think the biggest thing is keeping players healthy. Like we've already talked about Wendell getting a new contract. Like one of the big question marks around him and Bamba again is, can they stay healthy for a long period of time? And obviously if they're on the floor, that's going to help their development. Again, it's hard to judge it on wins or losses. I mean, I've done an NBA UK fans 60-second post. I know you guys have got yours to do as well, but
still got mine to do. Yeah,
you need to get on with that. But like I said in that video,
need to get it done before opening night.
But like I said in that, I think if we could play as many meaningful games towards the end of the season as possible, and look, if we're within touching distance of the play-in tournament or even the playoffs, that will by far exceed our expectations of what we're hoping for in terms of wins and losses. But I don't think that'll happen. I do think we'll finish somewhere in the bottom 3 eventually. But I do think it might look very different when Fultz and Isaac return as well, because they do have some experience. And we already see Fultz in 4 games last year, 3-4 games right at the beginning of the season, that he knows how to run. He knows how to run the point guard position. So that extra experience coming back, even though he's still young, is going to be important, even if they're going to have a year of breaking themselves back in. So I don't know, really. I don't want to put a win number on it. I just want us to play hard, play with energy, have games like we've had in pre-season where they're exciting to watch and have some close games down the stretch. And I think we'll all be pretty satisfied with that.
Okay. You don't want to put a win number on it. Is there a win number that you will be disappointed with?
No, not really. I think anything less than 20, I think it's a bad season. You want some wins. You want players to kind of learn how to win some games. Although if you're looking at lottery odds, you don't necessarily want them to win lots of games, but that's a story for the end of the season. But anyway, I think
we're not talking tanking yet.
No, I think we all did our rough predictions a few months ago, and I think I said then 25 wins when we looked at the over/under odds earlier in the season, off season. So yeah, I think around 25 is probably what we're looking at. And I said I wasn't going to give you a number.
You see, it's good interview technique. I managed to get the figure out of you in the end. Got you talking, mate. Got you talking. Used all my old experience. G, what's your thoughts, mate?
A bit like what Alex has said, we're building the house, aren't we? So a lot of what Mikey said as well about player development, getting everybody on the floor, getting everyone accustomed to one another. But I do believe that we've got more talent than a lot of people give us credit for. Mikey mentioned that again, Fultz and Isaac to come back. You know, Fultz is a hell of a ball player. Isaac's elite defensively. You throw them in with, all the other guys we've got who are very, very capable. And, you've seen it in flashes in the preseason, like that fourth quarter in against San Antonio. You can go on a run. So I think we might surprise a few people. I'm just having a little look at some of the other teams. And I think we're better than Oklahoma, Detroit, Houston, possibly Toronto, San Antonio, maybe Sacramento, given the depth that we do have. So it's all about bringing it all together. But again, like Mikey just said, we want to play meaningful games as late into the season as possible. But probably in and around the 11th, 12th, if we can a spot in the East, if we can get into the play-in tournament, that would be a very, very successful season and be certainly something to build upon. Excited to see everyone, show what they can do and grow as a team.
Okay. G, same question to you. What's your disappointment win number?
Oh, gosh. I'd say disappointment about 24. Anything under 24, I'd be disappointed with, because I think this team is better than that, even though they're young. So 25 and higher it'd be deemed acceptable for me. But yeah,
mate, as the team, as the eternal optimist, I'm going to echo what you've just said there, Jay. I think we're better than people are giving us credit for. I expect us to be a very hard-fighting, competitive team. I don't expect us to roll over for anybody. I think that there's going to be a lot of teams come into games against us and be surprised by the spirit and effort that the team put in. I'm not going to say I expect us to notch a huge amount of wins. I do think that we are capable of 24. But I also believe that 30 or more, 30 is doable. I do think that a figure of 30 is doable, but I know I'm the eternal optimist, but I do think that we can battle with teams more than people give us credit for. You only have to look at the preseason. I know that preseason is different. You look at the Boston lineup we played, you look at the San Antonio lineup that we faced. They aren't full strength, but I do think on any given night we can surprise teams. I really do. So weekly predictions, we've got to bring that back now, haven't we? As well as the season starts. So, G, let's start with yourself, mate. Are you going? So one on the road at the Spurs, one at home against the Knicks.
So the Spurs on the road, as I've just mentioned, I think we're better than the San Antonio Spurs. Whilst they're at home and it's opening night, I think we can get in there and get a W there. The Knicks, whilst it's our home opener, I think they've probably got a bit too much for us. They played together for a little bit longer. So I'm going to go for a respectable 1-1 start.
Okay.
Yourself?
Mikey, go on.
I'm also going 1-1.
Oh, how boring is this going to be?
Are you going 1-1 as well?
I am as well.
Yeah,
you don't want that wooden spoon, do you, Paul?
Oh, mate, I'm just going to join your two each week.
You can go first on Friday.
I knew you'd get around it somehow. But go on, Mikey, what were you were saying about?
I'm going to go 1-1, but just to be different, I'm going to say, I actually said to G earlier, I think we beat the Spurs, but it's the Magic and it never makes sense. So I'm going to say we lose to the Spurs, but beat the Knicks on opening night at home. So, but 1-1, that's the important number.
Yeah. The Spurs one is one that you look and think that could easily go either way. I expect both games will be tough games. But like G said, I think the Knicks are looking strong. I mean, they've gone 4-0 in pre-season. Spurs went 3-2. I think we can win in San Antonio. I've got us down for a W for that one and a loss to the Knicks as well. So it'll be interesting. Go on.
Do you think we're going to see an Evan Fournier tribute video on Friday night?
He's already had one, hasn't he? I thought he'd been. It's not his first trip back.
Did he come with Boston?
To the Amway? He had one last season, didn't he?
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah,
I forgot.
So no,
I think he'll get a good reception from fans. I do wonder if he might get one because was it a game without many fans in? I can't remember.
Yeah, it would have been. Wouldn't it be limited? Definitely.
Yeah. I can't remember if it was a game where he came in where there were no fans still in, but I think he'll get a good reception from the crowd. I hope he does.
Yeah, he should do.
It's he doesn't deserve a lot of the hate that.
Why are you smirking, Mikey?
Directed.
Nothing. I'm not saying a word.
I get. You know what? We've said this many a time before. We get the frustration that people felt about Evan, but you only have to look. We asked him to do an awful lot more than his game. We asked him to play a different game to what his game is, and it affects. If you don't play to somebody's strengths, you don't see the best of them.
Yeah.
So I hope he gets a good reaction. I hope he gets a good reception from the crowd. I really do. So, boys, I've enjoyed this. It's been good. I've just got to say that as we're recording this, looking at the time now, in 365 days, I will be landing in Orlando International Airport because it's this date next year that my family and I fly out. So 365 days, looking forward to it. And
we won't be far after you,
I'm going to say, hopefully you two are joining me as well, getting out there so we get some games again together. So until next time, to everybody, thank you for watching and listening. Please subscribe to the podcast. Hit the notification button so as not to miss any future episodes. You can find all our links to our socials on the podcast description and also off of our website at orlandomagicuk.com. Please leave your comments. As we always say, we do love to interact with people. We love to hear what you've got to say. if you aren't already doing so, then please make sure to follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. All are on Orlando Magic UK. So until next time, from Mikey, Geraint, and myself, go Magic, and let's get this season underway.